We ready? They just they just keep uploading stupid shit. They give me way too much ammo. And somebody's got to hold the law down. So I'll take the job. Let's talk about it. What's going on, Doc? Ground pounder? So who all we got? We got a few here. What a wild, weird week. Some of the goofiest videos were uploaded. And, I mean, I appreciate all of them. I find some kind of fun out of any of them. So, let's see if I can do a little something here. I don't know. We'll just leave it like that. I'll tell you what I could do. Let's do this. So I want to start all my live feeds the same way. Shout out and appreciation to all of my members. So Ground Pounder, James, Jay, and my brother. Appreciate you guys. We've been on one this week. We've done a few lives where I kind of focused more on techniques and showing stuff, some demos, but and I didn't want to step on what we do here, so I tried to, even though I wanted to do a couple more live feeds, I tried to keep them very separated in what they are. So, Red Dad, what's going on? So we are badged up, and let's start the patrol. Let's get going. Fire the squad car up, and begin the cruise. So, the way I look at things, there's levels to your stupidity. There's a warning, which, enough of those, I'll stop giving you warnings and you just hit you with misdemeanors and tickets. Or what's going on, Rain? Or you have your misdemeanors, your felonies, and then straight jail time. So we're just going to judge stupidity and have a little fun in the process. So, what's going on, Michigan? So we're gonna discuss what's been going on YouTube for this week. We kind of do this every week, um, and I'm basically the sheriff. You know, it's the reason for this. So we're just going to do our patrol over the last week, find out who is breaking the law, and the law of common sense or stupidity. So there's a bunch of channels we'll discuss. Let's just get right into it. I'd say I've there are times where if you're a channel, okay, I don't want you to get offended. If you end up on the list and we talk about you, it's YouTube. Any publicity is good publicity. If I could have got another channel to, even if he was saying how much he hated my channel back in the day when I was building my channel, it would have helped grow it. No matter what, my channel would have helped it grow because people were bringing your name up. Gives them a reason to look you up and check out what you're doing. It's your responsibility after that to catch their attention and keep them around. So that's crazy. When you break common sense, you've broken the law. That's what I'm saying, Daniel. That's what I'm saying. So, first channel, we're just gonna give him a shout out. The guy's trying to grow his channel. Originally, I liked him for his countryness that he's got to him. He's got that good old boy mentality. I'm not the biggest fan of those guys who jump onto YouTube and become a character, and they're like, "What's up, YouTube?" Over dramatic, and or those guys that play a character and try to dumb everything down and make it seem so simple, nothing goes wrong. I'm not a fan of either one of those. You can tell when someone's being authentic. I'm sure most channels and most guys, when they start a channel, or women, you have that initial stage where you're just trying to get used to being in front of the camera, which can be a struggle all on its own. So JLM Tree Service, um, they run a guy runs a little smaller tree service. It may actually be a big tree service for his area. I don't really know a whole lot about them, but they put out a video. I believe it was today. It was called "Fractured Codominant Tree Threatens Home." Um, he had a hickory tree that had I'd say probably maybe a 8 to 10 foot, 8 to 10 foot-ish prominent trunk, and then it codomed out and had two huge tops to it. One of them blew out. Luckily, the one that blew out, it was like right on a building, on a garage, and the tree went like this and then went out. Well, this one broke off. I don't know how you get that lucky, but the only one left is the other one that was closer and kind of over the shed. So they start the video out. They start to head up the tree, and I think as he got up there, the process of just trying to thin the thing out and like rig it, you weren't going to be able to rig enough off of it to make a huge difference when it come time to pull it over, unless you just rig the whole thing out. So as a climber, you start to make a decision right there. You climb your way up and you're like, I could pull this thing over. He gets up there. You can see, oh, this is going to be a pain because every limb's going to lower down onto the garage. We're going to have tagline, yada, yada, yada. So he decides, I'm going to connect the rope, which there are those ones that I won't throw a throw line up into because they're so messy and you want that perfect connection point. Yank, what's up, brother? You want that really perfect connection point that is in a particular spot. So easiest way a lot of times to do that is just throw the gear on, run up there real quick, and get that connection point. When you use a base anchor and you go up through the top and then anchor at the base of the tree, you end up using a bunch of rope. And if you're trying to get your, or if your pulling anchor is a distance away, a lot of times I don't want to use that rope up, so that's when I'll go up. But he still had a pretty gnarly tree that he had to bring over. They hooked it up. I maybe had a redirect out into the woods. I can't really remember, but he hooked it up and slapped a notch in it. And he did seem to kind of maybe bore cut. What's going on, Bennett? He did seem to bore cut a bit, but I think maybe that was because the building was close. I don't really know. Some guys like that technique. I'm not the biggest fan of the bore cut unless I absolutely need it. So yeah, he put the cut into it, a nice notch in the front. The issue that, and I think he was really smart when he showed up. Like I said, the tree went up maybe 8 foot, and then it had forked out. It slivered all this down. It had a crack in it, and the crack didn't go too far. You know, it was probably still about 3 to 4 foot up, but on the other side, it went down a little more. Originally, when he looked at it, he says it doesn't need to be ratchet strapped. I'm glad that after he thought about it for a little bit, he did ratchet strap that section together, because even with the notch, when you start to pry and pull, that can make that crack totally separate, and then it fails the other part of the tree out. But he slapped him a ratchet strap into it, put a notch on it. They hooked it to their Bobcat, I believe, and sent it over. So, experience is. Hang on just a second. Okay, you guys are just talking. Right on one. Yeah. So yeah, he slapped a notch into it, made his back cut, and the tree went over really good. They did a heck of a job. I've thrown some shade at him, only because I feel like we maybe kind of got off on the wrong foot, where I was not meaning to come off mean, and apparently I may have came off mean to him. So I maybe offended him, and maybe it's just a coincidence. I started getting prank phone calls and stuff at that time, and his response. So I may still say something's goofy. I can't help that. I'm only going to speak the truth. I can't tell you and give you, fakeness. That's just not what I'm going to do. Thanks for answering my comment. Oh, did you say, JP, did you say something? I'm sorry. What's going on, JP? Super Dave just came back. What's going on, Dave? I've heard Super Dave's name. Who was talking about Super Dave? Somebody was talking about him. May have been Ground Pounder. I don't know. Hell of a climb too. So yeah, shout out to JLM Tree Service. The guy's trying to build a channel over. He's a country boy, at heart it seems like. I don't know him personally. Go over, give him a follow, subscribe to his channel, check out his stuff. He will remind you multiple times to like, comment, subscribe. And he does have a bad habit, and this is not, I'm not even writing you a warning here. This is not a ticket. This is just advice. He intros every video, and then he says, "Okay, I'm gonna see you at the top," and he smacks the camera, and it always starts at the bottom. So just, hey, maybe when you say, I'm gonna say, maybe change the wording. He always says, "I'll see you at the top," and then he smacks the camera, and then it like transitions to him at the bottom of the tree every time. Never, I don't even know if there is a video where he goes to the top. So go check him out though. I think some of you guys would like him. So check that channel out. Another big channel that I found myself watching here recently, I kind of stumbled across it, is John Seaman. And it's C-Man, like S-E-A man. But he owns a company called JPC, I believe. And 200T for the win. I'm gonna have to agree with old Crate Master there. Um, they he runs a big operation. He does like septics, a lot of fill-in stuff, and foundations, and it just seems to like do everything. But they throw a little bit of tree work in there, and when he does the tree work stuff, I do kind of watch. It is fun to see such a big operation be so incredibly like prehistoric and caveman with how they do things. So no hard hats, a rope and a chainsaw is about the extent of it. Topping trees, spiking while you're topping them, like on your trims. So I'm gonna have to start writing some misdemeanors here. So the first misdemeanor, he put out a video though. The one that I watched was called "Time to Hand Dig This Septic System," and then slash $100 apple butter pays for the tree job. So caught my interest right there. I love apple butter. I'm an apple butter guy. I mean, you guys like apple butter? Anybody eat apple butter? Is that just a kind of a hillbilly country thing, or? And I would imagine you need homemade apple butter too. Like you can't just like I don't know if that's something you can go to the grocery store and go buy, and it be good. But ground pounder knows. You make some fresh rolls and some apple butter. Like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever. So, caught my interest there. So I'm watching the video. The guy, I think, throws in. I think maybe he gave him a price to do the tree. The guy cut maybe $100 off and says, "How about I give you a jar of apple butter? I heard you like apple butter." And my sister-in-law makes the best. Well, I don't know. Like, yeah, everybody's got that person. Everybody's got that person around them that makes the best. I've got some give to me before from like elderly people, and man, I've got some there's so many different kinds. There's like a more of a sauce version that is more granulated and ground, and then I've had some that's more kind of like almost chopped. It seemed really, really, really fresh and like almost diced to the point, and it was really good. It was good enough that you could just like eat it out of the spoon. But yeah, you get some apple butter. They do the tree job. First of all, you top the tree. Misdemeanor right there. Second, no hard hats. That's another misdemeanor. Third, you're spiking a non-removal. That's 3 misdemeanors, man. Like, it's gonna end up. You're gonna end up in jail. And the 4th ticket you're getting is that you're working for too damn cheap. Just because. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they're from. It blows my mind that it's all of his workers only speak Spanish that do the tree work. And but I don't know. Maybe that's normal, but like that's not normal where I'm from. So I don't understand why he's working for so dirt cheap. Um, he's like I believe he's working off like the pricing of probably 4 to 5 years, maybe 6 years ago, and I feel like it's almost to the point he's getting half of what he should. So on this one, I think he was getting 700. It was probably worth 1,400, and yeah, it blows my mind. So let's do this. So what did I say? That's 4 tickets, 4 misdemeanors. I mean, get in the back, put the cuffs on. I've got to take you down to the station. I mean, I wish I could let you go, but I mean, dude, they didn't give me this for nothing. Like, I didn't ask for this job. I was elected. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is our first, let's call him like a perp. Yeah, I don't know. What's a better word for it? Our first arrestee sounds too much like testy. Like, I don't know. We'll think about that later. But, yeah, that guy's, we're taking him down to the local jail. So, like, you can bond out, you can get out quick, but I mean, dude, that's 4 misdemeanors. I got to do my job. Offender. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Thank you. So, not that I like doing it, but there's these jail cells I feel like are going to get full quick, but it just is what it is. So next, we go to the biggest YouTube tree channel out there, Guilty of Treason. Puts out a video called 20 Years of Tree Work, and we have never seen this happen. They're doing what looks to be like I think maybe a Douglas fir or something, a really tall evergreen. And then a cedar that is very rotten and kind of deformed looking with the way it grew, like it's all funky. So Randy is Mandy end up bringing his bucket truck, and he's working on the cedar. And at one point, he made a cut up into the top, and it pinched his saw. And I think it may have caused a crack into the trunk of the tree that he didn't realize was going to end up doing what it did. So he continues to work. I missed it. Who just got arrested? I believe the suspect too. That's the other one. I believe the gentleman's name is John C. Mann. That seems like I'm telling a joke, but there's no punchline. I mean, $10,000 bond for stupidity. So, but Guilty puts out that cedar ends up failing while Randy is getting ready to make some cuts. He's looking at the tree from his bucket truck, and all of a sudden half the tree fails out, lands onto the garage that they're trying to keep from hitting. Luckily, I think somehow it didn't hurt the garage. They went in and let the homeowner know, hey, this happened. That's where you're so incredibly thankful that you're wearing a GoPro. You have a camera on. I've had times where someone's tried to say, oh, you did this. And I'm like, no, you want to watch the whole video? I did not do that. It was like that when I started. And if you're going to different places all the time, a lot of times it's good to document things before you start. The way they look, before you start. Especially if you see a defect like in a gutter or like a flower or plant is smashed or a brick is broke or, a fence has a dent in it. Those kind of things you want to go ahead and document because people can try to pull a quick one on you. But in this scenario, they just ended up catching the $1 million question. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's standing around it, does it make a noise? If it hits a garage, it does apparently. But they're really lucky nobody had climbed that tree, and they're really lucky that Randy's lift wasn't in a position to where it was somewhat under it. It landed right next to his bucket truck. So good for those guys. I'm really glad to see that nobody got hurt. But now we got to write some tickets. He put out another video for some backyard cedar removal or something, or this tree's in a tight spot. I don't remember the name of the video, but we talked about it the other night. He goes up in the top of the tree. He's tied in, and he has his lanyard on. He says, you need to keep 2 points of attachment. It's really important because if you cut yourself, you need to be able to get down really quick. And it's safer. Safety first. The main job is always to get home to the family. I don't care what the task is for the day. That's not the job. The job's to get home safe. So he's up in the tree. He makes it clear You need 2 tie-in points, especially when you're doing your working, and it will save you if you was to accidentally cut yourself. You're able to get down quick with the tie-in point. The dude drops down a few feet and totally loses his damn mind, and is back on just his lanyard, and he realizes it, and he says, "Well, right now this is the safest way because the quickest way down would be with gaffs." Like, dude, it's okay to make a mistake. Some guys, they'll show you them smashing something with a tree. But if they make a stupid decision throughout the day, they try to hide it. Don't move the goalpost. That's not, you can't do that. You made a mistake. Just deal with it. You decided to start cutting. Instead of giving people good advice and saying, hey, even if you're on a spar that's only 30 foot, 20 foot up in the air, and you're chunking something down, it is safer to have a climb line on and a lanyard. What happens if you cut your whole damn arm off? You're going to still grab your lanyard and work it down and gaff yourself? Dude, you're stupid for that. This stupid, like, repeatedly talking about how you feel safer with just a buck strap, you just don't know how to articulate your words. That's the problem. Because you don't feel safer. You can't feel safer. You may feel more agile. You may feel like you're quicker. But you can't be safer. That's not the way things work. When you removed one of your climbing systems that keep you anchored and keep you from falling, you then felt safer? No. No. I want to just say it's a misdemeanor, but no, that's a felony. It's too many times. It's repeated. Like, you're habitual. You're an habitual offender. So, it's a felony. Normally, this is the first time you did it, you get a misdemeanor, felony. So, guilty of treason. Get your shit straight. Get it together. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you have a technique or a way of doing things that maybe isn't the safest, how about make that clear? Because you've decided to make yourself the central focal point of everybody who seems to watch tree work. Yours is the biggest channel. You now have a responsibility to not put out stupid information. So, get in the back of the car. I like you. So, $5,000 bond. I think 10%, you call a bondsman, you can get out with $500, but we got to take him down to the station. All right. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, also, when I took Jake just now, we drove him down to the station. He let me know that he is looking to hire another climber or a ground guy, add another person to his team. So, if anybody's looking for a job, and I think he's located. I'm trying, ground pounder. I think he's located in maybe. Where does he say he's from? Seattle or something like that. Washington, somewhere up there. Oregon or Washington. Yeah, it's one of them. So yeah, if anybody in that area is watching this and you're looking for a job, go to Guilty of Treason. He is looking to. There's information there on what you got to do to get the job. The guy seems like he is doing a hell of a job building his operation, and it's getting very, very big, very quick. Congrats to Jake. I hope that his arrest and the little bit of money he's got to use to bond out here doesn't mess anything up for him. Seems like a good guy. I just have to do my job. And so, I mean, I don't always like taking people and booking them, but that just I have to do it. Like, this is how I put food on the table, on my imaginary table. Now we're going to do something that we have never done. I mean, as an officer, I don't just drive around and impact people's life in a negative way. I want to also be a positive influence to my community. So, Jeffrey show up? What's up, Jeffrey? So, I've noticed when I've been patrolling that I'm not the only fella out there that wants to see things done safer, that wants to see people be better, and doesn't want to see such a huge influx of bad information being spread all over the internet. You know, so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna swing by. I got a plaque, and it's an award. It is Local Hero Award and Super Citizen of the tree industry. That goes to Tree Mugs, an educated climber. If you guys don't know Tree Mugs, go over to his channel. The channel is called Tree Mugs. Tree is Tree, and Mugs is Muggs, and Educated Climber. You could probably just put Educated Climber in, and it will pull him up. Where's my? I have some paper here from. Oh, right here. Yeah, he sent me that with some stickers one time. He's a good dude. You're looking for a place to use as a reference source. That's the guy right there. You know, I'm not always getting calls to come out to his house because he's doing illegal things. You know, I don't even. I rarely interact with the guy because I'm chasing bad guys all the time. I'm chasing idiots. He seems like a dude who has a lot of common sense. So me and him don't have a whole lot of interactions, but I can tell you that that's a good dude. And it would be well worth it if you're trying to learn techniques and things about the tree industry and tree work and tree climbing itself. Go check him out. That's a guy that's going to spend the time. And yeah, Pat is his name. He's going to spend the time to learn the technique, even if it's something new to him. He's going to learn the technique. He is going to figure out the nuances, the ins and outs of it, and he is going to yeah, blessing. Yes. Yeah, I did. I thought it was quiet enough that you wouldn't hear, though. Sorry. Should I say excuse me? Is that what you said? People like it's like a burp. But God damn it. I start trolling for a second, and you're just this trolling's messing up my other trolling, so now I got to get back on task. So yeah, we swung by there, gave him his plaque, gave him his little award, and go check him out. Educated Climber. You're gonna get nothing but good information. That guy's not gonna go watch a video and then regurgitate it to you before he understands it 100%. He's gonna explain it to you after he absolutely breaks it down and understands it completely, as opposed to every other tree YouTuber out there that learns a knot. I keep saying that. It's not every. So many of the guys that are just, they have the mentality of look at me, I'm awesome. So go check Tree Mugs out. It's worth your time, I promise, at the Educated Climber. So, is there a get out of jail free card if he... Maybe. There's a possibility. I mean, like if I arrested you and you had like a jar of apple butter on the way that you were like, yo, bro, you want this? And you like snuck it to me, I'd probably get there and unhook you and let you out. Rip the tickets up. But, because ever since I brought that apple butter up, that's all I can think about. I'm getting really hungry. But I got patrolling to do. I got to get back on back on the beat. Next YouTube channel would be Brandon Rusty's Tree Care. Brandon's a good dude. Building his channel. I think he said he's got some shirts now for you guys. Anybody that likes his channel, wants to support him. I think he also has memberships. I didn't say this at the beginning. I should say this every time. If you want to support the channel, the best way to support my channel is to join the memberships. I'm going to put out a lot of tips and trick stuff there that won't be on the normal channel, that will kind of stay there. They'll be on the shorter side of videos and some extra content specifically for memberships. But the majority of my videos all my videos will go through memberships and then come over to the normal channel. So as a member, you get early access and you get extra videos. And I'm going to make up some stickers. I'll start sending those out too for anybody who joins. So I owe Ground Pounder, Jay, and my brother stuff now. Oh, and James. So what did I have there? Oh, yeah. So Brandon took his video was called Massive Leaner. He ended up in a tree very similar to the one that I was just in, that the tree went up and arced out, and it was still had a bit of a vertical access to it, or axis to it, not access. The one I was in, actually, it went over and actually started to grow downward. It was so weird. And then it had some weird, like, tops that it had started to grow and produce after a while. But yeah, he used the fishing pole technique, which involved him putting rings all the way up the bend of the tree, which caused compression into the tree and allowed him to rig some pretty good stuff off of it and get this tree worked down pretty quick, pretty good. So go check that channel out. He's a good tree guy too. That's Brandon Rusty's Tree Care. Yeah, go check him out. Okay. Now, you know what's funny? Our biggest offender this week I think the biggest offender is still to come. Yeah, actually, yep. So, we still got a lot of tickets right here. Jesus. Game of Trees. I would consider them to be a polarizing YouTube channel because there doesn't seem to be much of a middle ground with them. Either you like them or they kind of irk you. But he put out a video, multiple videos actually, and the video is called Span Rigging Debrief. And I brought my dry erase board here. So let me see if I can get, okay, so you will be able to see it. So they were working on a tree. And now I'm not the biggest fan of the GRCS. Some guys love it. I'm not the biggest fan of it because I feel like the device, more than anything, puts the ground guy in the worst possible position. So they end up having one GRCS there, one GRCS here. I drew the GRCS, is huge. Okay, so what they had a tree about like this. It just looks like someone upside down with their legs spread. What the hell? All right, so this is what they got. And what they were doing was rigging out this top. They had a house that kind of wrapped around it. It went to like here, and then it went on the backside. So I don't much understand. When he's explaining this, they're doing a debriefing. They have a dry erase board just kind of like this. They have a rigging point there, And then their other one is up there, but it's where they span rig. So their rope went to there, then up to there, and then this one went up to there. Okay. And then so here's how they have it. You see that? Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so they have their GRCS here, GRCS here, and what they're doing is they're rigging out this part right here, and they're sending it down, and then they want to transfer it over here because, like I said, the house kind of wraps around here, and then turns, and then it goes on the back side, so the tree's somewhat hanging over the house. They this rope here, and it goes up from a pulley to the piece, and they have a guy cranking on this one, and I don't like this. I think unless with the GRCS or whatever device it is you're using, unless you're physically picking the piece up, I find the cranking device to be somewhat silly. Like, it's awesome to pre-tension, but if you have it wrapped around 27,000 times and you're cranking on it, you can't let the device run. You can't let the piece run. You're gonna shock load and just hammer that whole system. And not to mention, to crank this thing, you have to be standing right here. So when that piece comes crashing off, you are sitting there trying to crank on this thing, and you're standing in the worst position. If a guy's rigging, normally you take the rope, you go to the bollard, the GRCS, whatever it is that you have, and then you take the rope and you get away. You get out of the drop zone. Standing in that drop zone is some of the stupidest stuff that I've ever seen. But I see it repeatedly where guys that are using the GRCS is the main culprit that I see of it. And they're cranking on stuff that's kind of pointless just because they can. I don't understand it. I think it's kind of dumb because over on this side, they were using a double whip technique. So when the piece came off here, let me keep the theme going. So we had the piece come off. Okay. So the piece ends up coming off. There it is right there. When they rig it down, they have it hooked on a double whip setup. So it's anchored back to itself. It's anchored off here. There's like a pulley or a ring, and then the rope goes through this. It goes, okay, the rope goes from the porter wrap or bollard up to this ring, or pulley, whatever you want to use, and then it goes from this one through a ring or pulley that's on the piece, and then it anchors itself back to the trunk. So this helps share the load, and it puts it on like a moving system where this is going to create some friction. As this piece moves down the line, it's creating friction on the rope there. So he called this span rigging. I guess technically, if you actually break it down, it is span rigging, but the only aspect of this that's span rigging is the double whip. So the double whip is going to use double the rope. It is technically moving on a span of rope from here to here on a 6-inch, 4-inch span. I don't really consider it span rigging. Maybe he does. But the reason for having another GRCS, note that a GRCS costs like $1 million. Like, I think they're like $5,000 with everything or something, like maybe $4,000. Let's be gentle. So you got 4,000 on this side of the tree, 4,000 on this side of the tree. I don't understand why, but they have this up here and they run the rope over. So the reason here that they had this hooked up and that they had the guy down here cranking on this thing in the danger zone is because they needed to pull the piece over, which just sounds silly because I watched the video, man. His excuse for having a guy there instead of just having it wrapped on the bollard and ready to let it run, his reasoning was they needed to pull this piece over. This did not pull the piece over. The piece came over on its own. I watched the video. It's very, very obvious. So when the piece came over, what they were left with on this side was a floppy ass rope that had a whole bunch of slack in it. And then the guy's trying to crank the rope up real fast to get it all in there. So the guy that was standing here in the danger zone stood there for absolutely no reason. You risked his life for the sake of making some content on YouTube that didn't even, it was pointless. There was no reason for it. Like, absolutely no reason for it. So, personally, I'd be a little aggravated if I was that guy, because all he really needed to do is be hooked up to the bollard, have it wrapped around once or twice, let that go over, and then pull the line in. I know why they wanted to keep this here. Like I was telling you, the house wraps around on this side. So what they were doing is rigging it mainly off of this stem. Then they were transferring it over to here. So what they would do when I showed you the rope was all floppy here, they would just tighten the rope up. Now, they can keep this rope tight or even start to crank it over after it's slammed in the tree and the potential for it breaking and falling off isn't there. So hang it, then walk over there, hook the winch up, and crank that thing and transfer it over to here. I feel like that video legit was more of a flex of, like, look at me, I have 2 GRCSs. I think it's dumb. So, like, personally, you got to get a ticket, man. That's just it. And I got out on that back road a little bit ago and took a piss. Forgot to zip my pants up. I don't know how many tickets I wrote with my pants unzipped. So, yeah, that's stupid. That's dumb. I mean, everybody will get their day in court where they can argue this. If you want to take it in front of the judge, we can argue. I think that personally, stupid is stupid. And you making a man stand there and crank on that thing for no damn reason, all because, like, the tree wasn't like at this kind of a lean. It was pretty much vertical there. So the climber just needed to get on the backside, give it a little push. So the climber getting back there and doing a little push would have eliminated the fact that you're putting one of your employees in the danger zone. In the stupid zone. Like, I think as the boss man, you should take your ass up underneath there and you go crank on it. So, felony. I mean, felony for stupidity. Because a man's life was at risk there. So, I don't know how many times we're going to have to do this, but you are absolutely guilty of being a knucklehead, of trying to be more of a YouTuber than you are a safe, productive tree climber or tree guy. So, we're going to get out here. I just booked him and put him in the car, so we're good now. But, yeah, man. What the hell? I mean, what the hell? I don't understand. Why would you put your guy in that zone? So, yeah. I'm not a fan of the GRCS, but, yeah. You just, guys know, if you're that ground guy, if the tree guy that's up in the top of the tree isn't smart enough to know, or the boss man that's on the job site isn't smart enough to know, if a piece is coming off and doing anything, don't stand in the area where it could possibly break and smash you and kill you. That's just common sense, but that's a very, very defined, like, by the book, look at us, we're master arborists over at Game of Trees. And for the most part, the guy does seem like he knows his shit. But I'm telling you right now, you're guilty of common sense and stupidity here. Master arborist and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Hey, I'm not discriminating. Just because you got some fancy title to your name, your ass gets booked right along with the next guy. You can get booked with the crackhead tree guy, half price Harry who drives around with a ladder. Like, it's just the way it is, man. So yeah. To me, he called it span rigging debrief. If he was only focusing on the double whip tackle aspect of the rigging that he did, then I guess it's span rigging. But you weren't really span rigging. You were double whip rigging, which is a negative rigging. Then you were transferring over to another rigging system or a different rigging point or lowering point. So some guys have different names for it. I've always called that when you have two different systems set up. I call it dual terminal rigging. And then when you switch from, if you hang it in one system, transfer it to the other, I've always called that transfer rigging. But yeah, there's some guys that are super, super skilled at that. I feel like that was something for them that they absolutely just overthought it. And it came out kind of like chicken shit. Like, it just didn't come out the way I think he was hoping for. But yeah, you got to use double whip and like I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. Understanding the trajectory, yes, of rigging parts is a job can be tricky sometimes. 100%. Yep. Yeah. I mean, just like, I mean, every scenario. If you're about to do something in tree work, and if you're the ground guy, you're about to rig a piece. I want you to just for me mentally picture what's about to happen. You look up there, even if the guy isn't like, I'm doing this piece right, you can see where the rope's connected. At least you should be able to. And you can see where it's going to lower at because it's the last rigging point that it's connected to. And then you can start to picture and imagine how that piece is going to react and respond. That gives you a little heads up. You're not flying by the seat of your pants. And that's where you can become very, very skilled as a rope guy by starting to picture what's going to happen and knowing the way that you would like to respond, but always have in the back of your head that what if, what if, what if? The question of what if may be the thing that gets you home at the end of the day. And if you aren't doing that, that possibly fatal mistake that happens, yeah, you had no clue it was coming. You know, if you're just going through it like it's a normal everyday thing, and you can't be bothered to think a little ahead or play the bad scenarios out in your head, yeah, it'll be a shock to you, and hopefully, I hope for your sake that it's very quick and painless. But my brain only works like that now. Every scenario, every situation, every problem, every task that I do, I think of what I would do to fix it, or to perform the task. Then, before I do it, I then think of how could it go wrong? What are the things that could go wrong here? And I do all those through my head and picture all those. And if there's a bunch of them, is there anything I can do to knock one of them off? So say there's 4 different things that could go wrong, and I have my plan. So what can I do? If I throw a ratchet strap on it, then it can't split apart in the middle of me cutting. Well, I eliminated one of the 4. Now, I could put a drift line on it because I'm afraid all that weight could let it come over, it could hit the house. I eliminated 2. So now the odds are so much more in your favor, even in worst case scenario. So I think, like, yeah, I guess, like, if you just do whatever, and I feel like some of these guys are almost hoping for things to fail because they'll get views on YouTube. I don't really care. You just see what you're just seeing what I go through to get something done. Like, I don't have an idea. I don't show up to something and I'm like, how am I going to turn this into content? I just record what I do. Then I go back and watch it and see if I can somewhat put a story together with the footage that I obtained. That's it. Some of these guys I feel like show up and they have this long, elaborate fucking dialogue wrote out of things that they're going to do and say. And best case scenario, a couple things go wrong and they can write fail. You're gonna see that from me because I just, if I've messed up somewhere, that's just the truth of the day. You know, I can't help that. That just is what it is. Yeah, Bill. That's right. There that's, I think you're probably looking at 2 different kinds of humans these days. Those are the 2 categories. You have people who cause the problems and are a problem, and those who fix the problem and try to eliminate the problem from happening at all times. So thinking ahead. It's the same thing, like, you can't be bothered to show up at work and think ahead. Like, that makes me wonder, do you pay your bills? Like, I bet you're always behind on, like, your truck note or your car payment or, like, your house payment or your electric bill. I bet your shit's always getting shut off just by the way you work on video. But that's just these. Everything I say is only my opinion. None of this is absolute fact. Nobody get butthurt. Don't sue me because you think I messed up your name on the internet or something. Like, don't. That's dumb. All right, next YouTube channel. Jeffrey Schroeder. Jeffrey Schroeder. Jeff was one of August's climbers. And you know what? August put out a video. Somehow I missed it this week. Oh, I seen it, but I didn't write anything down for it. I can't really remember what he did on it. But Jeff put out a video called Mega Fur Emergency. And Jeff is a hell of a tree guy. Jeff is building a channel very quick. Go check him out. You know, I'm sure with the pace Jeff has grown his channel, he'll pass me up here soon. That's just, some guys got it like that. I don't got it like that. Jeff seems to. He's collaborating with a lot of bigger YouTubers, which does nothing but help you. So go check Jeff out. That's Jeff is Jeff, and Schroeder is spelled Schroeder. And in the video, Jeff goes and works for a guy who he has never worked for before. The guy had a climber. The climber showed up, cut a couple branches, was sick, and left. So it was kind of an emergency thing for Jeff in the video. I think he gets called there like at 11 or so. So it's later on in the day. And when he shows up, the tree is massive because he tried to go off pictures. And man, can I relate to that more than anything else. So, but I do got to hit Jeffrey with, well, you know what? Jeff is such a good dude. We're just going to give him a warning. I'm not even going to turn the lights on for him. We got to give him just a warning. And for God's sake, can this stop happening on YouTube? I think I need to actually like draw it out because I want to be very specific with what I'm talking about, because I think some people are going to not understand it completely. But a lot of you guys that get pine trees will understand this one. Now, a pine tree is normally, and I mean, most of them that I've ever seen are single dominant trees. They have a trunk that goes all the way up. Sometimes they'll split out. You get a co-dominant thing or something, but damn, where my cigarette? For the most part, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, they get, for structure-wise, you know, but like some of these are massive trees. You're talking 200 foot and like up and stuff. Dang, I don't know where I started squiggling for. But they go up. We're going to do this very simple style. Okay. Now I want you to pretend this is a pine tree now. And let me show you what I keep seeing. Okay. See the pine tree? I can make it even look more like a pine tree. I go like this. There, it looks like a Christmas tree now. Alright. That's stupid. So, for God's sake, climbers, stop going up in these damn trees and only tying into a single limb. I think it's absolutely stupid. It's lazy. And I see guys that I know are so skilled and so good doing that. And I get doing it every once in a while. But I've seen climbers like August. August is the reason for this. Where guys go up and instead of throwing around and anchoring around the trunk, they throw their climb line over this single little limb and they work off of it. And I find that to be absolutely stupid. It takes a couple seconds to throw it around the trunk and know that you are in a strong point that is not going to fail. Now, I've even seen where guys will tie into a single limb like this and do crane work. My common sense says I've watched crane work enough. I've seen stuff break off. And what if it breaks your damn branch? It's just a little... It's just... I'm trying, I can't help it, man. It's just a little branch. And I see so many guys using that and doing that now. It drives me nuts. There's no reason for it. It's a couple seconds to throw around the center. Just done a big find this week, and I approve this 100%. You're not even doing a strong tree. Like, it's not a strong tree in general. Like, they fail all the time. Those branches aren't that strong. So using a single one instead of throwing around, in my opinion, is absolutely dumb. Now, it's dumb enough that the guy that started it, August, is now backpedaling and saying you should go over at least 2. So he's starting to see, oh, yeah, you know what it is? It's a lazy bad habit. I mean, this is just my opinion, but it's one of those, I want to hurry up and it's easier. So it may work, but why did you decide one day to stop going around the main stem and just randomly go onto a limb? Why? There's a reason for it. It's because it was easier and you were maybe lazy that day. So you threw it over the single limb because it's easier to get to. It takes less effort. And that's not the way, like, it would also take less effort for me to, like, fly up the tree. But I can't just do that, too. Like, hire a helicopter to set me in the top of it. I mean, I just don't get it. Like, I wish that technique would cease to exist on the internet. I don't even, like, I hate it. I don't want to see it no more. I'm sure I'm going to see it. But let me make it clear. You guys all are doing it because of one guy. I never seen a person do that technique until I seen August do it. After I seen August do it, I started seeing multiple guys doing it. And I even seen guys that would try to teach it. Like, oh yeah, I just go around this limb. It's much easier to get to, and it's pretty strong enough because yank. Like, I don't even want to hear it. I think you're moving the goalpost. You know it's stupid, and you're justifying it. Like, yeah, it would be easier for me to just fall every tree and not climb it too. But you know what? It doesn't fit sometimes. But you're like, well, it may smash that fence and like just the tips of it will go onto that house. I mean, it may scratch the paint up a little bit on the house, but I mean, it's easier on me. So I'm just going to fall it into the house. No. Like, you wouldn't do that. But for some reason, one day you decided, you know what? I don't really care so much for my life today. I think I'm going to pull some sketchy shit. Like, I think this is a great idea. And you know what? I'm going to make a video on it. And I'm going to put it on the internet knowing that I'm a guy that a lot of people idolize. I was one of them guys at one point. If I seen August do something, I would have done it 8 years ago. It's just, that's just the truth. I'm being honest. I thank God I don't do that anymore. Like, I take any information that I see from other climbers. I will always absorb that information. But I will also use my common sense, field test, and a lot of stuff just doesn't work for me. Like, I'm not doing it. You know, more power to you if you want to take a risk and put your life on the line and go over a singular branch and stay tied into it. But I'm not a fan. It's just silly in my part. And I hate to see guys that are such good climbers putting out content and showing themselves making kind of stupid decisions, because if they're a lot of those people are called followers. Like, they look at you for information. They enjoy you. They idolize you even at points. Like, my first time I had somebody tell me that I taught them something, or they sent me an email and was like, you really helped me. I every day I work to get more like you. Like, I was humbled to no end. It blew my mind to think I'm a silly hillbilly in the middle of nowhere. And I started making videos because I enjoy making content. Now I'm a cop and I'm arresting people and shit. Like, you guys can become a cop one day too. You just can't do stupid shit. So I'm sure I'm going to have to hire a few more detectives. I'm going to need a detective, and I don't want to call it my guys privates. That sounds dirty. Deputies. I need a few more deputies. So yeah, don't get caught on the internet doing silly shit, so that I can maybe deputize you one day and you can join the squad. So, public service announcement before we go. Oh, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Veterans Tree Service, his ass is going to jail tonight. Like, I'm putting him in jail. Tim's going to jail. Let's just pretend like right now he's fleed, and it's a high speed pursuit to get him. He's in that boxed black chip truck, and I'm chasing him down. But I got to give a PSA. There is this weird thing on the internet where I think some dudes see guys blowing out these huge tops, and I see it at times for absolutely no reason. So you'll see a tree. Let me clean this off because I want to give you the visual for this. Actually, I'm going to draw the wood here. Okay. So, you guys seen that YouTube tree climbing fail where the guy has his ladder set up and he's up in the tree and he's just standing on the forks of this massive tree. And he's got houses here and here, and he goes here, and he's seen people do it, and he feels like he's a big shot today. So he puts himself a notch in there, and he's going to send her, you know, and he almost sends it a little bit away, like I would say more like this way at us almost. But so he sets it up, he falls the section, it comes down, hits, and the butt end knocks him out of the tree, and he falls out of the tree, and you don't see the guy anymore. The neighbor's actually the guy who's filming it. So he's filming it from across the street, and they see the neighbor, he's up in the tree, and he gets his chainsaw, and he goes to cut, and it comes over, and it hits the ground, and the butt end shoots back and knocks him, and he goes flying. You see the chainsaw go, like, I question if that guy's even alive. Like, it was bad enough, it probably could have killed him. But if you've watched YouTube tree fails, I'm sure you've seen this. Like, there's no way you couldn't have. It's on every single YouTube tree fail video on the internet. So he sends it. Now what happens here is common sense. So guys will make this big face cut. They'll open it up real big. And the problem with that is it causes it to stay on the stump longer. Or also, when you make a traditional notch, something like this, if you notice, the bottom cut is flat. So it gives it a shelf to stay. If you've ever fell a tree, you've had it happen where it's still on the stump. It goes over, and say you're trying to high stump the tree, and it comes over and it stays on the stump. It stays right there. Well, what happens in these scenarios is that thing comes over, and it hits. It comes all the way over from the notch it was here. And it's still setting. It comes down, it hits. Now this piece flies off, hits this man. And if he's alive, he is one of the luckiest men to ever walk the face of God's green earth. Because he made one of the biggest decisions, like stupid decisions you could make. Now there's a reason that this kind of stuff happens. And the reason it happens is very, very just simply common sense. Now you don't want to be cutting a top out and that to happen. Well, the way you can keep that from happening is to make sure that you are above the length of the piece's height. So let's say we have ourselves this little tree here. Now, if we went up and we topped this thing right here, we would be okay. Let's say the halfway point is right there. Okay? So if we're above halfway, even if this thing stays completely on the stump, if it stays on the stump 100%, it still can't get us. It can't come down, hit, and come back. That same little stupid technique you've seen hit and knock everybody's ladder down on YouTube fail videos. Every YouTube fail video out there shows a guy with a ladder set up. He cuts the branch, it comes down, the tips touch the ground, the butt kicks back at him, and he gets hurt. Every single time. Well, if he was up higher than the height of the piece, so meaning if from here to here is 20 foot, you should be more than 20 foot up the tree. Just common sense. If this is 20 foot, you need to be higher than 20 foot. Then it cannot hit you. It would have to float and jump back up into the air to hit you. So when you see these guys that they for some reason decide to climb a couple feet up the tree and fall this massive log so they can look like a cowboy at the stump, those are the guys that get their lanyards almost ripped off of them because of tree barber chairs or something stupid happens. So I see it happen a lot, and now I've even seen it happen with very skilled tree guys. If you're up in the air and you're dealing with a piece like that, and you just have to, you get stuck in a position where there's no other option there. You have to do this. There are a couple things that you can do to get it in your favor. Now, if we have the tree, okay, and we have this, and we were going to go cut it, and say it's got this massive top on it. I wouldn't leave a traditional notch, because what happens is that goes over, and this can sit on this flat bottom right here. That lip being flat gives it a spot to balance itself on and stay. So in this scenario, as long as it wasn't a heavy back leaner, I don't want a wide open notch. Where in this situation you do this big wide open notch, okay? And the reason is normally you want the tree to come all the way over before it closes the notch up, but I don't want that in this situation. I want the notch after the tree is center. When it's over center, I want that notch to close up as quick as possible. I want the tree to pull fiber, and I want it to get the hell off the stump. So I wouldn't have a big notch like that. I would have, if this was very close to being vertical, I would have a very tight, shallow notch. And there's this thing that I've done for a while, and I do it on most of my logs, especially if I want the log to travel off. I don't leave this flat. I take my saw and I do a drop lip on it. I'll cut that lip off. So you could do a Humboldt here, which is everything in reverse. Instead of being flat on the bottom, you make a flat cut on top. Then you make an angle cut on the bottom. So that would work too. But I see most guys, when they're up in a tree, it's just easier to make a traditional notch. So in the case of making a traditional notch, here's what I would do. I would make my bottom cut. Okay? Then I would make my notch. So you see that. Can you see that with all that nasty that I can't clean off right now? So what I would do is I would do a little drop lip right here. I would angle that cut there because I want the notch to close up quick. So I wouldn't do like another bottom cut and have it big and wide open like this. I still want my tight angle where it closes here, but then I want it to roll off that edge. Because if you see when these trees stick and they stay on the stump, it's always right there on the edge that it stays. Like right here, where the flat cut is at here. It stays right on the edge. So if you take that edge right there and cut it off, kind of like that, and then you took that edge off, okay? You end up with something like that. And what happens is the notch closes here quickly. It pulls fiber, separates from the bottom, which pulls it off. Then it drops down that and slides down that lip. So if you find yourself in those situations, you want the tree to close and travel off away from you before it gets all the way over and it touches and the butt kicks back. That same kind of technique works, and you need to remember that when you're doing a tree and you're high stumping it. That same situation can happen where it can kick back. So pine trees also, they have big broad bottom limbs. So when the tree comes over, sometimes it'll hit the bottom limbs first and shoot the butt back. So just something to look out for. Something that I see a lot of guys kind of maybe make that little bit of a mistake. And if you have to send these massive tops for some reason, that would be my suggestion, is to make your notch angle open enough that the tree for sure, or the top for sure, gets over center and it closes up, but angle a slope off so that it can go away. You don't want it to come off and cut and stay up here with you. You want it to slide off. So if you have this and you got a little lip on it, when this closes here, it'll go off that lip. So putting a little bit of a drop lip on stuff, I've heard some guys call it a snipe. I do this with almost every tree that I fall or log that I fall. It just makes for a smoother contact. If you don't do that a lot of times and you high stump, you'll end up with the log digging itself tip first into the ground, making this huge divot. So just a little bit of a trick and tip for those who care and would like to know. But so why'd I say that? Well, because Tree Climber Harry, he put out a video. It was 4-ton excavator versus big pine tree. Harry is a great climber. He's so good at rigging. Then they do those mountain ash up there, or eucalyptus. He did a great job in this video. A lot of big rigging. He always does a great job. But he was blowing out tops that were bigger than the height he was at. So that potential was there. But in that video, it does show that with the right setup, that technique can be used and done safely. He blew out. So if you want to see it done correctly, go check his video out. That's Tree Climber Harry. The video is called 4-ton excavator versus big pine tree. So, yeah, my opinion, you want to, unless you're having to pull out somewhat of a back lean, if the tree had a bit of a back lean, instead of having it real shallow, I would have it a little more open, because the tree needs to travel a long ways before it gets over center and then goes. The depth of that notch and the angle, like the difference in angles, like make it more acute or wider, is going to be determined by how much movement do you need out of it before it closes. Because after it closes, you've now given up your control and you no longer have control. Gravity takes over and does what it does. So
Irish out at GR Curry. I'm on the surface now. I just climbed some shot.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to do, and I think Harry did a great job. So, but he did like I'm just throwing out a warning to him. This isn't like a ticket warning. This is a man, that's sketchy. I hate to see you even have to do that. But he did it. He did it safe and did a great job. So go check that out. Rion Rounds decided for the first time in about 6 months he would bless us with a video. He put out Merlot Madness 2.0. Rion has like Rion used to be one of my favorite YouTubers to watch because of his technical rigging and the way he would rig stuff out. I loved it. Um, that doesn't exist, it seems like, with him anymore. Like everything is so mechanized with him, but you're talking about an efficient, probably one of the most efficient tree crews that I've ever seen. Check him out. Um, they did 10 pine trees in 2 hours. They took them down, cut them up, and chipped them and hauled them away, and it took them 2 hours. 10 pine trees. These weren't small pine trees either. 10. So check Rion out. Another guy I just want to give a shout out to is Brush Life. That is another really good YouTube channel. Check him out. We got Peter Shea. Peter is a very good tree guy. I think he's down maybe in Florida area. Check out Peter's channel. And turns out Tim from Veterans Tree Service has now ran out of gas, and I've got him pulled over, and we're going to have a talk now. So Tim put out a video, and it was called When You Can't Run from the Danger. In this video, he was falling a bunch of trees, cutting them up, and at one point, before he gets to this big, massive, he ends up getting hit. Let's just say that. I'm gonna step on my own story here. He gets hit, and he shows it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the cynical side of me. But I feel like we didn't get to see everything. So let's just okay, let's do this. So he's fallen a couple trees. He's up on these little sheds, this dog pen, and he's got this little wad of trees that's growing out over it. He is setting a rope up in them and pulling them over individually with the maze dam rope puller. Okay. Here recently, it seems like Tim has been making a lot of like silly, kind of goofy mistakes where he's trying to go too big, and he's gotten out of them without any like catastrophic injury or failures to where something got broke. But I mean, good lord, dude, a lot of it seems to be due to kind of laziness or trying to rush. I don't think it's because he's an idiot. I think he seems like a pretty smart guy. But man, a lot of silly shit. He carries himself like a guy that has all the experience in the world, but some of the actions at times makes me feel like, oh, maybe he's a little newer to this than I thought. I don't know how long he's been doing it. I couldn't tell you. But so he shows in the video where he's falling these trees. He ends up with one of them. He gets it partway over. It kind of gets stuck, and he starts to worry. Like he didn't also always says that it won't matter. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I don't ride with. You can't talk about, well, this is what you don't do, and then do that, and then be like, oh, it doesn't matter right here, or oh, that won't perfect. I see this weird, I'm a YouTuber come out in him, and at times I don't even see a tree guy. I see a YouTuber. That's the thing that blows my mind. And so he's falling a little wad of trees. There's like 3 or 4 of them, and he gets on the last two. And as he's bringing one over, it gets hung up. He got lucky that it didn't break off and go over onto the trailer and on this little trellis. He got lucky. It worked. But when he did it, the butt end of it touched down, and like we were talking about, it stayed on the stump and smacked the shit out of this roof. Put a dent in it. And I'm like, damn, dude. And he says, perfect. Perfect. And I'm like, stop. Stop saying that shit. That did not go so you meant to smack the shit out of that roof? You meant to bend the metal off that roof? That's awesome. I wish people would let me do that. But also I want to point out that Tim runs about 4 different camera angles at all times. Am I right? Anybody that watches his YouTube channel, he's got about 4 different camera angles running at all times. So when the one smacked the roof, I said, damn, he hit the roof with that one. I can't wait to see what happens with this next one, because it arced back and went over the roof the other direct. Like, it was 10 times worse. And I'm like, oh, what's he going to do here? Well, magically, he forgot to push record on all 4 cameras for that one piece. Anybody that knows Tim knows and watches his channel knows that he explains every little thing as he goes. He basically narrates his life, his whole day, as he goes step by step by step by step by step by step by step. In this scenario, he forgot to record this one and then told us nothing about it, which is very strange to me. It throws up some red flags to me. Maybe it's the officer inside of me, but I find it very weird that you forgot to record and you forgot to tell us how it went. You just wanted to pretend like that stem didn't exist anymore or never existed. So only Tim will know. Or maybe I feel like the ground guy looked a little like deer in the headlights, because as a tree guy, you could make a mistake and be like, dude, I don't want to put that on YouTube. Damn it. So all you gotta do is go over to the camera and say, pick it up and look at it and say, oh, dang it, I forgot to push record. You don't have to put none of that footage in it. All you gotta do is look at it and say, oh, shoot. Missed it by a mile. I know. Yeah, that's it. That went perfect. Oh, dead on. So I'm wondering if there's a ticket I can give for false information, like failure to show the one that was actually going to be difficult. Like, I guess I can't. Only Tim knows if he's being a bit of a skis. Only Tim knows if he's trying to pull a quick one on everybody. You want my answer? Deep down, I think that one went like shit and it hit the shed. And whatever he did to fix it before, he didn't want to show it. Now I'm going to go back to, at the very end of this, a reason why I think this even more. So he just decides, oh, we'll pick it up right from where I forgot to hit record. That would have helped. Okay, so did you hit record with this? I know the camera that was over here, you said, I forgot. Did you forget this one? Or what about the one on his head? Or the other one over there? Did you forget to push all 4 of them? Because one angle would have been enough for me. I just wanted to see, because I thought what you were doing wasn't the best idea. And after the first 2, the way they went, I thought it was even a worse idea. And then I didn't get to see the outcome. I feel like you blue-balled me. And
but I have no proof. I have maybe I'm just stirring shit, being a dick, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I got a weird feeling that there's some footage out there of that mistake, and I feel like if you're insecure about how good you are, you would the YouTuber in him, if it exists, it will come out. I'm telling you right now, if that exists, as a YouTuber, he can't help but put it out eventually. But he can't put it out in this, like right now, and in this video, because he made a couple other stupid mistakes after this. So he just don't want to look like a complete idiot in this video. So he decides, this is all hypothetical. This is all just my opinion. He decides, we just won't show that right there, right now. We'll maybe later. So let me catch a couple of these comments.
I wish I had the ability to film better while I was in the trees. I don't have a GoPro, and I don't own a laptop. And the tree videos are often.
Hey, dude, I mean, it still works. Get you a time lapse. Like, get the time lapse app. Download it. They have free ones, and just time lapse what you do. That would make for fun viewing. So
Tickets for film on cutting room.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't give him a ticket for blue balling me. Like, but I feel like it's almost like filling out a false police report. Like, I think that content's there. I think that clip is there, and I want to see it. Damn it! But maybe it's not. Maybe it went perfect, because that's what I mean. Normally things go perfect for him. Exactly where I wanted it. But so he gets away with this one for now. But don't get it twisted. I will come back and write him a ticket if that clip comes out. And actually, you're going straight to jail if that clip ever comes out.
Tim did hit the roof in that video from today or yesterday, but he never said perfect when it came over one time, especially on that piece where it hit the roof, and he shows what he did.
That's what I just said, BR. I'm glad that, I mean, did you just repeat everything I just said? I mean, that's your prerogative. You can repeat. You can parrot me if you want. But that's exactly what I said. Only thing I said is we didn't get to see the hardest one. And if you're telling me that he hasn't made mistakes and said, perfect, that went good. It could have went better, but that's good enough. Then I feel like maybe you're not paying attention while you're watching. I mean, reality's reality, buddy. Like, you can like a person until you're blue in the face, but like, if that's the reality, it's the reality. I've watched them all. I watch all the videos. So
okay, I mean, shit. I was 18 when I started cutting climbing. I'm 42 February 5th. And I make mistakes still.
yeah, I do too. Have you not checked my channel? Every time I do, I use it as an opportunity to point out my mistake, my flaw, what I did wrong. I don't just use it for a thumbnail or a good title and then say, but it didn't hurt nothing and it was good enough. Like, I mean, it could have been a little better, but perfect. Like, I liked him. I just found it a little weird that part didn't show up. And if I knew for sure that he lied, I would say right now, you're a liar. I know, but I don't know. I said, this is all hypothetical. Like, maybe he forgot to push record for that one stem on all of his cameras. It's just, that's true. Like, truth's the truth. My prerogative is to tell the truth. About 5 minutes ago, you said the tree came over and hit the roof, and Tim said perfect. He did not say perfect. Yeah, I think I was talking about just Tim in general. If you've seen the other comments above that before I said all that, that's what I was referring to. I wasn't referring to like that. Like, I'm just saying that's Tim. That wasn't good. So he didn't say let's look. So what are we doing here? We're splitting hairs. You're telling me Tim didn't say that was good? That went the way he wanted? Because BR's comment is the only one I care about right now. I just want to see, because maybe I watched a different video. The reality is we all make mistakes. I'm not into this kind of YouTube stuff, talking about guys' mistakes. That just me, but God bless everybody. Have a good night. Stay safe. Oh, that's a bummer, Bubba. Because talking about people's mistakes is what keeps people alive. Showing them for the sake of getting a view that's silly. That's a YouTuber mentality. I only give a shit about the guys in the trees. Like the guys that do this kind of work, whether you're on the ground or in keeping them safe. You can't, if you're taking yourself too serious. If Tim would get mad about this, I'm only poking fun. If Tim would get mad about this, then Tim takes himself too serious. I don't think Tim would get mad about this. I think BR, you got offended for Tim somehow. And hopefully, I don't know. I don't know what you're offended about, bud. Because right after that, Tim takes off and goes and gets in this massive Kodama cottonwood. He falls one section of the tree out to the left because that's the way it's leaning. And he does it from up in the tree. And he puts himself in that position that we just talked about, where you're falling a section of the tree that's taller than the section you're on. Tim did a great job there and got it to fall off the stump to where he didn't get stuck in that sketchy position where he could have got hurt. I can't state nothing but facts there. Homie did it just the way he should have. On a cottonwood, you got to give me a little time to finish what I'm saying before you try to correct me. That is the thing that happens nonstop on YouTube also. Someone thinks that they got a better technique for the way things should have been done, and they're like, well, you should have done this and this and this and this. And I don't get where that is not more offensive than what, how is that not more offensive than what I don't know. I don't know how I offended. But I'm sorry if what I'm saying offended you, BR. I'm not, maybe this is your first time showing up to our live feeds, but on Saturdays, bud, this is kind of what we kind of do on Saturdays. I just talk about the stuff we've seen throughout the week. When I was pulling that tree over, he was even explaining the cracks were making him nervous in it and wasn't a good drop, and he knew that. Yeah, I would have went into all that, but I need to go past it now to explain to you where I come up with that it went perfect. Because after he fell this section from up in the tree, he came down, he put a notch in the tree, and he fell the other section with the tree jack. At some point, as he's falling the tree, his right-hand man, I think the guy's name's Jake. I think that's his name. Jake says, look out for that branch. And sure as shit, instead of getting away from that tree, because Tim pointed out, it is going to cause chaos when we fall this thing, and it is going to destroy everything. I wouldn't hang out at the stump.
I'd get my ass away from it. To the point that his right-hand man tells him, look out for that limb. Tim does not move. He stands right there and gets smacked with it. Maybe it didn't hurt him, but he had the golf, like, it's on footage. Like, it happened. You know what he said? Missed him. Come on, man. Like, really? It didn't miss him. It hit him. Like, and the only reason you say missed me because you don't want to admit that, dang, I stood in the wrong spot there. If I got hit, I would say, damn, I should have got away. Like, I mean, when I fell, it was no one else's fault. It was all me. I made that mistake. I have to deal with that mistake. And I could have just said, yeah, I fell, guys. Tree climbers fall sometimes. So, yeah, let me make another video where you tell me how great I am. And I think that wouldn't have done anybody no good. I think talking about that kind of stuff and pointing those things out help. So,
Buddy, I'm not even mad. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the comment. Mad at all. I don't even know him at all. I know him from YouTube videos. I'm just saying from my opinion, and I'm not mad at you neither. You're my buddy. I'm knowing you for years.
100%, brother. That's why I don't take any offense when, like, I at times you have a total different way to where you'll do things, and you'll be like, well, what do you think if you would have used? And I don't even. At times you'll come up with a technique like, do you think this would have worked? Dude, I didn't even think of it, and I have to go back and look at my footage because it's hard to remember it a lot of times. Maybe somebody will leave a comment and it's a video that I put out a while back or I did a long time ago, so I have to go back and watch it. And a lot of times you're right. Yeah, that would have worked out great. But the tree comes over. We'll just finish this and hand out a couple tickets and then we'll move on. But the tree goes over. His homeboy says, hey, look out for that limb. It smacks him. And it looked like, maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like the tree didn't actually, after it was all said and done, it went pretty much where he wanted it to go, but it looked like it was maybe on the fence and wasn't on the guy's property all the way that it was supposed to be. But you know what he said? He said perfect. And then he turned around and said, my cut was dead on. That's all I wanted to talk about at the end. And even his buddy, he knows how the game goes. He knows we're recording to the point that he even tried to help Tim and be like, I think the ground guy even said, I'm glad I called that out. I've watched this video like 4 times. I'm glad I called that out. He's like, are you okay? To Tim. He's like, but it didn't even get you, did it? And Tim says, nah, miss me. Or maybe he didn't say miss me. He said, I'm okay. It didn't hit me. But I mean, in the video, it's very obvious. From 2 different angles, you see it hits him. And luckily, it didn't hit him good. Thank God. Like, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I want, if you respect that guy, that's on your team enough to do the work that you let him do, run your ropes and all that stuff, like, maybe at times, if he's telling you something's a little sketchy, just because you have maybe a little more experience than him, doesn't mean that you shouldn't respect what he's saying. Like, I've been guilty of that same thing myself, where I think I know everything because I have way more experience than the guy that's there with me. But if he's trying to help me, I have to accept that kind of help at times. I can't be too arrogant to it or too kind of just, it's just arrogant to think that, I don't need to listen to your opinion. I've got it figured out. Soon as that guy said, hey, look out for that branch, Tim could have took a few more steps to get away. But the focus was on getting a good shot for YouTube. So he didn't want to turn and move because he got his camera on his head. Got to get the shot. The shot is not that important. That's where, let's have a little humor. We're too serious. We got to hit the lights and take the thing out and say, dude, YouTube's great, but YouTube ain't the end all be all. Only thing I care is I want you to get home. No, you're not getting a ticket yet, BR. You're good, brother. That shouldn't be your focus. And the reason I feel like that was his focus is because also, I'm about to have a seizure, so I gotta shut this off. When he ended the video, he says, let me know what you guys think. I'm worried. It's something about he's worried about what people are going to say in the comments. That should be the last thing on your mind, man. You had some things go on. That's the nature of the beast. You shouldn't, who cares what everybody else says? Your focus should be to keep you and your guys safe. I want you to go home to your family every day. I don't care if you get 50 new subscribers from that video or it goes viral. I don't give a damn. That means nothing to me. Good for you. If you can go make YouTube this big lucrative thing for you, I don't relate to it. I don't make nothing from YouTube. That part I don't get. I'm not putting my life on the line or setting in a dangerous spot for the sake of a shot, for an angle, So this is just my opinion. I think you should have maybe heeded the advice. Yeah, brother. Hey, have a good night, VR. But I appreciate you, brother. And we always love having you around. I just want to see everybody get home safe. And I think sometimes his channel is so much bigger than mine. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe if my channel was that big, my focus, I would have more of a focus on trying to make good, perfect content. But if it doesn't pay the bills, I don't give a damn about it. I really don't. So I record what I record. That's what I record. And if you see some crazy shot where something was in a dangerous spot, best believe you ain't gonna see it on my damn helmet cam if I can avoid it. I will set the camera over there by it because I can replace that. But I just don't at some point you gotta admit because if you can admit I don't know. I don't even know how to take that because he admits his failures, but the truth is the truth. If you just play it off but it's okay. That wasn't good enough. I guess technically for that time, for that day, it wasn't good enough. Hey, it's not fun to critique, I would never say nothing about a guy that I wouldn't say to his face either. Best believe that. You'll see me at the TCI expos. If I said something that you don't like, come up and smack me in the mouth. If I offended you that bad, do what a man does. I have no problem with anything I say saying it to him. I may be 1,000% wrong about thinking that he didn't show that video. There's a good chance. But that's the conspiracy theorist in me. Maybe I'm wrong. I run a crew. All right. Whoever uses the marlin hitch instead of the half hitch.
on a crew. 5 guys between them, and 5 years experience. I still ask them for their opinions when I'm up in the air, and I've been kind
100%. Like sometimes I want to strengthen their confidence also, and asking a guy his opinion gives him some confidence. You're showing that you have confidence in that guy to even ask his opinion. Like, what would you do, brother? What do you think? You think that's gonna clear? You could be a dick and be like, get out of the way. And he's like, hey, I don't think it'll clear. Like, I don't care. I'm the tree climber. Like, move, bro. So you can, there's different ways to do it. I've been a dick before. I'm trying to turn a new leaf and try to respect that guy because I need him and show it. Like, not that I didn't respect that ground position as much before. I did. It's that I didn't show it. And so I just trying to show it a little more now than I used to. But yeah, this is dangerous. Like, I've made more mistakes than probably, I bet you if you check my channel, there's more YouTube fail mistakes on my channel than there is probably any other one. I'm just gonna show it though, and a lot of times it's embarrassing. It is, but it's the truth, man. Like, I'm not gonna give people a false reality that this is all hunky dory and it's a game of horseshoe where as long as you get close enough to the target, you get points. You don't. Like, this is more like say basketball. If the ball don't go through the hoop, you probably are losing. So
like, I will never be afraid to swallow my pride. Never. Just who I am, man.
dude, I think me and you are a lot alike. I think we're a lot alike.
I did leave, buddy. I put my daughter to bed. I got something to eat, and I seen you were still on.
But I love it. Being a good dad, you just scored extra bonus points with me, BR. So even if you get a ticket, you can just give it back. You got bonus points. So we just hit Tim with a couple common sense issues. Tickets is what he gets. I'm not even going to harp. There was a couple things there that he knew when he put that tree through that mess there, that big cottonwood, that there was potential for a lot of shrapnel to go fly, not shrapnel, but shrap pieces to go flying, and that it would be best for him to get the hell away from that stump as far as possible. There's no reason to hang around there except for to get a good YouTube shot. Then when come to the realization that, it did go through and he didn't get hit, he did say, yeah, that went perfect. Well, pretty good. I mean, and then his focus at the end is, oh God, I can't wait to hear what the comments are. Or I'm not looking forward to hearing the comments. Have a good day. I don't like seeing Tim feel down. That's not what I want. Like, I could tell, like, he's down on himself there. But if you're not a good read of people, you would think, I didn't really make a mistake. Like, that did get close to hitting him, but he said it didn't hit him, and the other guy said it didn't hit him, so it didn't hit him. And then it looks like he didn't really smash anything that's super important, but I mean, you can't spend all the time pointing out these fences that you're not supposed to hit and these property lines, and then you go over them and you say, well, it's close enough. So that's just the reality of the gig. Sometimes an inch is worth a mile, but sometimes an inch is all it takes for you to fail. So, go check out Veterans Tree Service. I'm sure if you're watching me, my small ass channel, that I'm sure you're already subscribed over there. But if you're not, go check out Veterans Tree Service and Tim. It's good content. It's the quality of the stuff is top notch. I think he keeps his cameras updated all the time, and he does a different like kind of range of trees than what like a guy like me like I do. I believe he's up there kind of maybe similar area to Guilty of Treason, but dude's got my respect. He does some massive like tall ass trees, and I mean I don't have those things around here, so I can't say that like oh I'm better. That's just for sure. Like it is what it is. I got a warning for not wearing my helmet. Yeah, and you. That's what I'm talking about. JC got a warning on one of my vids, and Mike, and he was right. You have to. Ah, you're the man, JC. You're the man. Yeah, I did. I worry about that. I don't want to offend nobody. I'm having fun. I'm just teasing. I'm poking a little bit of fun, and I hope none of these guys out there, like, I'm a silly hillbilly in the middle of nowhere. Don't let my opinion get to you that much, unless deep down you know you should have been a little harder on yourself. Then if that's the case, be hard on yourself. Take it to heart and fix it. That's all I care about. I don't want to see you make the mistake. I want to see you fix it. Yeah. I mean, at times I'm a wild man. I need you guys to kind of ground me at times and be like, yo, homie, you can chill. But you've been talking about it more. I understand where you're coming from, and I do. No worries, brother. No worries. Like, I just wanted to make sure that this is me trolling a little bit, man. I'm only poking a little bit of fun. Like, yeah, I'm a legitimate cop, and I'll get some handcuffs that way I can have them, and we'll have our flashing lights, and we're just having a little bit of fun, man. One of these times I'm going to be on this. Like, I'm going to have to call myself out, and I have to book myself. Like, it's going to happen. So, yeah. But let's finish this up. There's a new channel that I haven't given a shout out to, and I want to, and that is In the Trees. He seems like a cool guy. I like his stuff. He put out a video called Are Cheap Gaffs Really Worth the Risk? And he bought some really cheap gaffs off the internet and tried them out. Made for a pretty good video. I think he's quite a character, so check his channel out. That's called In the Trees. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Right on. That's awesome. So yeah, check him out. That's In the Trees. Then, dude, big shout out, and I want to say, like, I'm so stoked for Meta Spencer. Spencer got a chipper. Like, that's a dude that deserves, he deserves so much more than credit than he gets, because he's humble, and he shares for the sake of sharing. He doesn't share for the sake of pat me on my damn back and send me free stuff. I think a lot of guys do. That's what they do this for. They're like, okay, if I get big enough, I can get free stuff, and then people will tell me in the comments how great I am, and if they don't, I can hide their comment. And I mean, I feel like Spencer, I'm stoked for Spencer. He got himself a chipper. He got it. And if you know Spencer, he's very methodical, very tedious, and he will have that chipper working like a brand new chipper very, very, very soon. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Spencer. Another channel, very big channel, Zacchaeus, put out a video where he said how to throw a rope up into a tree. He showed 4 different methods. And I never noticed how many people put out videos on how to make an air-powered gun for a throw ball. And everyone's stuff costs way too much money.
I think Zach says his was like $50 after he got it put together. I'm gonna put a video out on my memberships where I will break down the cost and everything to my air powered cannon that I have. $12 is what I spent to make this air cannon. That's it. I spent $12. I believe Zach said that he's broke his 5 times already. And you have to rebuild the whole thing basically every time it breaks. So that means he's into his throw ball cannon like $250. And I use much different parts too than him. So I'm going to put out a video. I'm going to explain why the way I made mine I feel like is a little better and it's a little safer. There's some tricks to it, and it has to be. I've never seen anybody put a video out, but this is the cheapest, most effective, like for the price. $12 I think is what I spent. I'm sure nowadays it probably is a little more than that, but and I've never broke my air cannon. It has been working forever. So yeah, go check Zacchaeus out. He put out the video, and his is different than mine. It has like arm rests and stuff, and I think that's probably where a big difference in the pricing came from. His pressure reliever, he uses a different system, and he has a handle and like an armrest kind of thing onto it on his, and maybe those extra pieces is where the extra price comes in. But check Zacchaeus out. Your kid, like, dude puts out good. I call him kid because he's got a baby face, but I know he's not a kid. But check him out, and always check out Ground Pounder's channel. Ground Pounder does live feeds all throughout the week. He'll give you the opportunity to completely like interact with him, and a lot of creators don't do that. They may have massive YouTube channels, but it's really hard to go live and interact with the people. You don't get to ignore the comments. You know it, or people just end up going. So, Ground Pounder, if you want to interact with a good tree guy, check Ground Pounder's channel out. Like I said, does multiple live feeds throughout the week, and it's just really cool when you can interact with the content creator, because a lot of them you don't get that opportunity. Also, check out J306. Jay's another one of my mods in here. Jay has been in the process of rebuilding this awesome vintage coupe. So you get car restoration. He just did a trip where it was the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. Does snowmobiles. He's a tree guy. Like, Jay does a little bit of everything. So check him out. Me and Ground Pounder should end up, when we meet up for the next expo and stuff, we're going to have to do some videos. Like, we'll do some collab stuff. We'll have a few collab live feeds coming up here soon. But check them out. If James ever gets the channel going, we're going to be shouting him out all the time too. So, guys, the last channel for the week is Woodroy. Woodroy TV. And it's spelled Woodroy, Woodroy TV. And his channel at this point is very small, but the quality and the amount of attention and effort that gets put into this guy's content, you can't help but it get big eventually. So they must be using some of the best like cameras and editing stuff, and like, but he put out a video called Tree Cutting Accidents Expert Reacts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would. See, I'm different there. I wouldn't even call myself an expert. Like, I still feel like there's, because of how many things there are for me to learn still, it's hard to say I'm a master or an expert. And but nowadays, if you say it enough, you become it. Like, that's just, it's like the dress for the job you want, not the job you have kind of thing. But
He reacts to YouTube fails, and he's also puts out, tree climbing footage. So check Woodroy TV out. It's a pretty good channel, and you can catch him while he's small and grow with him and maybe build a relationship with the guy to the point that even if he does get big, he'll still remember you guys, from helping him from the beginning. So there are a lot of you guys that I'll never forget. If tomorrow this channel absolutely blew up and I passed up guilty and I was 100 million, there's no way I could forget a lot of you guys. That's just reality. Like, you guys made an impression on me. I hope I've made an impression on you. I hope I didn't offend nobody. But at times I can be a bit of a troll. That's just me, So I'm going to swing by the donut shop, pick up some donuts. That's what us cops do. Have a cup of coffee. Cruise down the strip. See if the ladies in the night are out. Maybe try to get a few numbers. And I'll see you guys next week. Write some more tickets. BR, Martin, Ground Pounder, all you guys, I appreciate you guys. We'll do this all again. Thank you for giving me your ear, giving me your attention, and giving me your time. In life, you could have all the money in the world, but you can't buy time. So thank you all for giving me your time and your attention. I will catch you next time. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a safe work week. I'm always here if I can help you guys. Just leave a comment. Let me know. Bye, guys.